commitment for communities devastated by the wildfires, what it means for residents hardest hit. Request denied, why a man sentenced to life in prison wanted a new trial. And the latest and greatest tech tools for the farm.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. The province has announced new details on its plans to rebuild communities affected by an unprecedented wildfire season, which is still far from over. Jasmine Pelche now on the cash commitment and where it will go.
The community of Denair Beach lost 300 of its 400 homes to wildfire. The province is committing $1.8 million towards Denair Beach's recovery. The money will come from the province's $20 million commitment to rebuilding efforts for communities affected by wildfire. There are 8 active evacuations across the north, and the SPSA says around 1,100 individuals are evacuated at this time. There are 49 active wildfires burning across Saskatchewan, with only 7 listed as contained.
We are bringing resources in, as mentioned, including from across Canada, across the continental U.S., and from our partners abroad. That is in addition to the 154 Type 3 firefighters that have been employed to assist us locally.
Over in Prince Albert National Park, the uncontained bull wildfire is now just over 30 kilometers from the town site of Waskesiu.
A joint incident management team is responding to the bull fire, and while the Waskesiu town site is not at immediate risk of fire, a voluntary evacuation has been issued in an abundance of caution.
The bull fire is estimated to be 38,000 hectares, with nearly 7,000 falling within park boundaries. Parks Canada says weather conditions are expected to lead to fire spread. Parks Canada says if the fire spreads to the south of the Crean River, it'll evaluate weather and fire conditions to determine if an evacuation order is necessary.
There continues to be a fire ban in place for Prince Albert National Park and a closure of the northern areas of Prince Albert National Park.
Highway 916 remains closed as a result of the bull fire. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, Prince Albert.
A judge has rejected a Saskatoon man's request for a new trial. He pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, but later appealed his plea, citing his desire to spend more time with his children. But as Hallie Mandrick reports, the judge ruled there are no credible grounds to grant a retrial.
The province's top court has rejected the appeal of a man who previously pleaded guilty to killing 30-year-old Megan Gallagher. Bobby Thomas pleaded guilty to second-degree murder back in December for his role in the death of Gallagher, which happened in September of 2022. Thomas is one of 9 people charged in relation to Gallagher's death. The man was previously sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for 18 years, but Thomas appealed his plea and requested a new trial back in March. Justice Neil Caldwell has since provided a decision stating that there are no credible grounds for a new trial. The family of Megan Gallagher told CTV News that this decision brings them a great deal of relief, citing that the potential of another trial was a distressing idea to think about. Court proceedings are still ongoing for the others charged in Gallagher's death, with Roderick Sutherland scheduled to face trial later this year. Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
A 50-year-old Prince Albert man has died after a vehicle collided with a moose. RCMP say it happened on Monday night at about 10:30 along Highway 55 just west of Smeaton. The man who died was a passenger in the vehicle. The woman driving the vehicle was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. A second passenger was not injured. A 62-year-old man is dead after being hit by a vehicle on the Beardies and Okomasas Cree Nation. RCMP say he was hit on Monday night just before 11 o'clock. The driver of the vehicle was arrested at a nearby home 2 hours later and charged with impaired driving causing death, not staying at the scene of a deadly crash, and dangerous driving. One person has been taken to hospital following a crash involving 3 vehicles. It happened at about 11:30 this morning on Idlewild Drive near 51st Street. Police say one person was sent to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Traffic was backed up as emergency crews were on the scene, shutting down both northbound lanes and one southbound lanes of Idlewild Drive. The cause of the crash is being investigated. Meanwhile, the driver of a vehicle was ticketed following a dramatic crash along a busy Saskatoon roadway, a vehicle ending up between the pillars of the Co-op gas station in the 400 block of 22nd Street West. It happened at about 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Police say a vehicle tried to turn north on Avenue D from 22nd Street when it hit another vehicle traveling westbound on 22nd Street. The impact pushing one off the street. One person was taken to hospital as a precaution. One of the drivers was ticketed for failing to yield. Passengers flying from Hamilton to Vancouver have finally reached their destination today after an unexpected stop in Saskatchewan. A Porter Airlines flight had to make an emergency landing in Regina last night. Wayne Mantika explains.
Airport emergency crews were on standby as the Porter Airlines flight made an emergency landing in Regina. The flight was over Montana when some passengers and cabin crew detected a faint scent similar to something overheating.
I was just sitting there and the stewards were looking inside the baggage compartments. We were asked to pull out our cell phones and if we're charging, and looking at the laptops.
The search was toward the back of the plane, so not all passengers were aware of what was happening.
We could feel something happening, but we couldn't figure out what it was.
The captain made a decision to divert the flight.
The pilots decided they were going to divert to Regina. Then they announced they were going to go to Calgary. And then I smelt it again the third time. So I alerted the flight attendants. And then this time they decided to go to Regina.
The aircraft touched down in Regina at 8:20 in the evening.
It was pretty alarming how many crews were there. I figured it was just protocol, but still definitely alarming. And we didn't know what was going on at the time, so that added to it. But I would say we felt safe.
The airport says standard emergency procedures were implemented,
which include activating our 24-hour on-site fire service and also contacting our emergency response partners.
The 91 passengers and crew went to a hotel for the night as a replacement aircraft was flown in.
Yeah, a little concerning, you never want issues in the cabin, but no, they handled it quite well, very professional and safety first, right?
Passengers boarded a replacement aircraft in the afternoon to continue their journey to Vancouver. The aircraft involved in the incident remained behind for further inspection. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
Leadership with the Beardies and Okemasa Cree Nation is sending a warning to residents involved in drugs and illegal activity. It has issued a letter dated July 14th addressed to what are referred to as occupants of homes of interest. The letter states drug sales and trafficking, gang-related activity, as well as other illegal activity is happening at certain homes in the community. Leadership is warning that if the activities continue, the names of the people in the homes of interest will be made public and that law enforcement and housing authorities will take further action. It says a meeting with the heads of the households will be held August 1st with a follow-up to ensure compliance 2 weeks later. The leadership says it will support people struggling but will not tolerate the illegal activity that is putting the community at risk. Well, Stacey, a warm day today, and the smoke was still there just a little bit at times.
Yeah, Chantel, still some smoke in the air for Saskatoon, but the air quality is expected to improve tomorrow. Air quality in Prince Albert was considered high risk to very high risk for most of the day. That's also expected to improve tomorrow. Now, we are keeping a close eye on this system in BC. That's going to make its way through southern Alberta and then bring some much-needed rain to the southern western part of Saskatchewan. As for northern Saskatchewan, there's not much in terms of precipitation in the next couple of days, but there could be some rain on Sunday. Now, I'll have more details on that and your full weather forecast later in the show.
As Western Canada's largest farm show continues, visitors from far and wide are looking for the latest and greatest in agriculture technology. John Flatters has more from day 2 of Ag in Motion.
For the thousands of visitors to Ag in Motion, everyone wants to know how they can farm more efficiently, more profitably, and more safely. And over the years, drones have entered the conversation.
We've been doing this for 10 years now. Drones are in active use by hundreds and hundreds of farmers for imaging crop primarily for a lot of years. And then over the last 3 years, we've shifted from just looking at the crops to actually applying product.
New models consistently enter the market with higher weight capacity and better safety features, meaning farmers can use them to apply products like humic acid. But federal regulations still prohibit the use of pesticides with drones.
So every pesticide label has to be approved by the Pest Management Regulatory Agency. It's a federal agency under Health Canada. The provinces do have some role in enforcement of the regulations, but it is primarily a federal responsibility.
Other companies using the Ag in Motion show to unveil newer, bigger tools for the field.
Our 7-plex family of air hoe drills, and those are the ones beside us here. That's up to 100 feet of productivity, 7 different folds. It kind of forms into a cube of steel in transport.
It's also a chance to use computer software and artificial intelligence to give farmers a full picture of what's going on under the soil.
It allows us to stream data wirelessly into other carriers like John Deere Ops Center, CNH Field Ops. Customers want all their data in one side, and we decided to work with these partners in order for Bourgault to be fully integrated into that customer's ecosystem.
And advancements in tractor technology are making a long day much more comfortable, whether it's a cooler for your lunch, GPS, air conditioning, or a smoother ride.
These tracks actually have full suspension underneath them there, so people are running around 26 miles an hour on the road. Usually you feel that grouser, the lugs, you feel that vibration. We've got a rubber block in there and movable parts. In the cab, it's smooth, better than most half-tons.
Western Canada's largest farm show wraps up Thursday. John Flatters, CTV News, Langham.
In an effort to make Saskatchewan an energy and mining leader, the province is calling on Ottawa to commit in more ways to get exports like potash to port. Damien Smith has more.
Potash prices are quite stable. That's kind of where we like them to be.
Mosaic Canada, Saskatchewan's mining sector is getting back to normal.
It's in a stable place, not what we saw back in the period when the Ukraine was invaded by Russia. We saw sky-high potash prices, and that's not actually very conducive to the market or to producers in the long term. So the market we have right now, it's stable, we're making lots of tons, and our customers want it.
Saskatchewan is projected to bring in $7 billion in mining investments this year. That's why the provincial government is calling for federal investment in national energy corridors to get more resource products to international markets, especially given trade uncertainty with the United States. The province also says that better trade offers better security against a range of potential problems.
As we move forward in the province and also in Canada, is that we position ourselves as an energy superpower so that when we do have these challenging situations like wildfires and droughts, that we are able to support those industries.
The Mosaic Company also has U.S. operations in Florida and New Mexico, but Canada remains the largest producer of potash in the world, most of it coming from Saskatchewan. But tariff uncertainty is also present in the sector. Potash, along with other energy imports to the U.S., currently faces a 10% tariff, but it's expected to be exempt from the threats of 35% tariffs on Canadian goods later this summer.
We don't believe that any fertilizer product should be tariffed, as it's meant for humanitarian purposes to grow food, and we're going to continue to be pushing for that on both sides of the border.
The next focus for the province is pipeline projects, where they'll need to acquire licenses from the federal government that they say have been sitting in the books for the last 10 years. Damien Smith, CTV News, Belle Plaine.
Back to Batosh is back. The festival celebrates Métis culture, history, and language and features fiddle performances, jigging, and chuck wagon races. Batosh Days began in 1970 and is held on the historic site of the Battle of Batosh, representing a movement toward reconciliation. Last year's 4-day festival drew 50,000 people. Back to Batosh kicks off tomorrow morning. A popular restaurant and bar in Saskatoon's Riversdale neighborhood is closing its doors after 7 years in business. In a post on social media, Cohen's Beer Republic says its final day of service will be July 26th. A reason for the closure wasn't given, but Cohen says it hopes its story will continue in the future. Gift cards can be used until the final day of service. Following Cohen's closure, it will be honored at its sibling restaurant, Una Pizza and Wine on Broadway. Executives of Saskatchewan's largest uranium company are moving up in the world. Cameco is leasing space on the top floor of the River Landing East Tower, known as the RBC Tower. Cameco's top execs and administrators have started working out of the 13th floor. The remainder of the corporate staff will continue to work at Cameco's headquarters on 11th Street. The top floor of the tower has remained vacant since it opened in 2019. Your chance to get an up-close look at the work of Banksy is here. The Art of Banksy Without Limits opens its doors at Scotia Centre in downtown Saskatoon tomorrow. The exhibit is billed as offering a unique, immersive journey into the world of the mysterious artist. It showcases 200 of Banksy's works along with documentaries providing a better understanding of his life and creative process. The Art of Banksy Without Limits runs through September 21st. A special birthday party is being celebrated at the Saskatoon Zoo this month. The zoo is throwing a party July 21st to 27th to celebrate the 20th birthday of Mastaya and Coda. To mark the occasion, people are invited to sign a giant birthday card for the bears. There will also be a scavenger hunt as well as educational sessions about the bears. More details on dates and times can be found on the zoo's website. Still to come, the Prime Minister announces new measures to support the steel sector and why First Nations are fine-tuning their expectations ahead of a key meeting with the Prime Minister. You're watching CTV News live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us tonight. The Prime Minister was in Hamilton, Ontario this morning, where he had a message for Canada's steel industry. He said Canada will become its own best customer as he introduced new measures to support the sector. Heather Wright has more.
This Hamilton, Ontario steel fabricator has been in business for 70 years and had been sending nearly 70% of its products south of the border. Now that number is close to zero.
This is Steel Town for a reason.
Today, the Prime Minister was in Hamilton announcing measures to help Canada's steel industry. By the end of the month, Ottawa will tighten the quota for steel coming from countries without a free trade agreement like China and Turkey to half of 2024 levels. Anything beyond that will face a tariff of 50%. This measure is aimed at reducing foreign steel that has flooded the Canadian market, much of it diverted here after the United States imposed tariffs on the global steel industry in March. And with Canadian steel producers effectively shut out of the U.S., Mark Carney says this will help them sell their products domestically.
For Canada to build big things fast, we need our steel industry to advance, not retreat.
As Canada embarks on massive infrastructure spending, the Prime Minister also announced that any companies bidding on government projects will have to use Canadian steel.
We will change the federal government's procurement process to require companies contracting with the federal government to source Canadian steel for government contracts.
The tightened quota and increased support for laid-off workers announced today come after the steel industry said measures announced last month didn't go far enough.
We got things going on south of the border. We can't control all of that. But what we can control is here in Canada. Let's make Canada the best.
Asked about ongoing trade negotiations with the United States, the Prime Minister would not say what level of tariffs Canada would accept, nor would he say whether Canada would impose additional retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods. He said both were good questions, but said answering them in the midst of trade talks would be a bad response. Heather Wright, CTV News, Hamilton, Ontario.
First Nations are fine-tuning their expectations ahead of a key meeting with the Prime Minister. The summit was called in a bid to ease concerns about a contentious major project law that Indigenous stakeholders say fast-tracks development without their consent. As Rachel Aiello reports, some First Nations leaders are questioning whether Mark Carney is checking a box or is ready to meaningfully engage.
First Nations leaders set expectations today for tomorrow's big gathering in Gatineau.
This is not consultation. This is a first meeting of many. This discussion will be led by us.
The Prime Minister organized the meeting to discuss the implementation of Bill C-5 after Indigenous stakeholders felt their rights were not respected in the rush to pass it through Parliament. They now want Carney to listen.
We're going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he produces tomorrow.
I'm a
bit more cynical. I do agree. I mean, just look at the process.
9 Ontario First Nations, though, aren't waiting, launching a legal challenge to the federal law and a similar provincial plan to try and prevent both governments from using their new powers to sidestep existing protections.
These bills from Ontario and Canada show that the Crown has no interest in reconciliation.
Today, Carney was asked,
have your belated consultations jeopardized the goal of getting new projects built?
Well, first, no.
He went on to say tomorrow's talks are about engaging on how to work together in the future.
What are the priorities? That's before any consultation on any specific project.
The Ontario government is also consulting First Nations this summer, with Premier Doug Ford's office promising to build consensus around projects that support prosperity. And Carney has additional plans to have conversations with Inuit and Métis leaders in the coming weeks. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Gatineau.
A security incident at Vancouver Airport last night sparked by a man who stole a small plane from Victoria and flew it to Vancouver. Airport officials were so concerned that fighter jets were deployed from the U.S. The flight took off from the Victoria Flying Club. Airport sources tell CTV News the suspect organized a private flight with a pilot. The suspect produced a knife and somehow the pilot escaped. That's when the suspect flew around the Vancouver International Airport, flying high and low repeatedly, telling controllers he wanted to shut down the airspace for 5 hours to protest global warming. Airport operations were shut down. Fighter jets were scrambled, but half an hour later he landed and was arrested. Nova Scotia RCMP say it's reviewing around 5,000 video files as an intensive investigation into the disappearance of 2 missing siblings continues. RCMP say it's also assessing more than 600 tips and examining evidence, including a pink blanket. Lily and Jack Sullivan were reported missing May 2nd. It's believed the 4- and 6-year-olds may have wandered into the woods, but there has been no sign of them for nearly 11 weeks. Last month, the province of Nova Scotia began offering a cash reward for information on their disappearance. More than 50 candidates are now registered in the Alberta by-election, where Pierre Poilievre hopes to win back a seat. Dozens of independent candidates are running in the riding of Battle River Crowfoot. The list stems from a coordinated effort by an electoral reform group, which is aiming to break records during this by-election. Pierre Poilievre lost his seat to the Liberal candidate in the Ottawa area riding of Carleton in the spring election. In that election, 91 candidates were registered. Former Conservative MP Damien Curick gave up his seat, paving the way for Poilievre to replace him in the riding. The by-election is set for August 18th. A volcano erupted in southwest Iceland today, spewing smoke and lava. Magma forcing through the Earth's crust opened a massive fissure between up to 1,000 meters long. But based on data, it is likely this was a relatively small eruption. There are reports people were evacuated from a nearby town and spa resort, but flights at an airport in the capital were not affected. This is the latest in a series of outbreaks near the capital in recent years. Iceland has now experienced a dozen eruptions since geological systems in the region were reactivated in 2021. In Italy, an artist has created an image of the Pope using his talent and a tractor. The face of the pontiff was carved out in a field about 25,000 square meters near Verona. Unlike his other works of art, Dario Gambarin left the green grass on the Pope's face, making the artwork almost entirely green. Next to the image are the words, "Peace in the world." Gambarin sketched the work on a piece of paper before jumping on his tractor to trace it in the fields. It takes a lot of work and patience.
You know, maybe some Saskatchewan farmers will be inspired to do something of their own.
You never know. We will welcome those photos if that happens. For now, you've got a decent forecast. It's got some rain in it, though.
Yeah, you know what? The next few days, we will see some sunshine, Chantel, and then starting Sunday, we will see some rain for Saskatoon at least. Right now, it's 22 in Saskatoon, 20 in Prince Albert and the Battlefords. Today's high was 21, the low was 6, so a touch cooler than seasonal. Now, Now, the record high was 37 degrees set in 1941. The record low was 4 set in 2009. Now, the sun went up just after 5 a.m. and it will go down at 9:20 p.m.
All right, thanks, Stacey. Coming up, exciting news for Canadian roller coaster enthusiasts. Why Alpine Fury needs to be seen and rode to be believed.
Welcome back. Taking a look at our sky cam, you can kind of see some smoke in the air. The air quality considered 6 right now, which is moderate risk. Again, that is expected to improve tomorrow. Taking a look at our radar and satellite, quite a bit going on in terms of weather. We're keeping an eye on this system right here. That's moving through Ontario, triggering rainfall warnings for some parts of Ontario. Some areas expecting 50 millimeters of rain. Now, heat warnings have also been issued for southern Ontario and the Maritimes. With the humid index, it feels like 36 to 40 degrees. And we're continuing to keep that eye on the system in BC. That will bring some good news for southern Saskatchewan. More on that in a moment. 22 in Saskatoon, 20 in Prince Albert and the Battlefords. Buffalo Narrows are hot spot today at 24. Loon Lake, our cold spot at 20 degrees. Currently in Saskatchewan, Estevan 19, 21 in Regina and Moose Jaw, 20 in Yorkton, Prince Albert and Lloydminster, 20 in Kindersley, Rosetown, the Battleford, Spiritwood, 22 in Meadow Lake. Up north, 22 in Stony Rapids, Key Lake and South End, 21 in Sandy Bay, Island Falls. A bit of a range of temperatures here. Broadview at 17, and then it warms up to 23 in Leader, 22 in Maple Creek, 19 in East End. Now we're looking at the futurecast here. There is that rainfall system that's coming from BC, a low pressure system, bringing that to southern Alberta. Quite a bit of rain for Calgary. And then that's going to bring some rain for the southwest corner of Saskatchewan. Again, many areas experiencing drought, so the rain is welcome. Maple Creek expecting about 15 to 20 millimeters of rain tomorrow. And our forecast, La Ronge, 23 tomorrow, a high of 25 in Stony Rapids. Key Lake, a high of 22. Mainly sunny in Meadow Lake, mix of sun and cloud in Spiritwood, Kindersley, and Rosetown. Temperatures in the low to mid-20s. Maple Creek, again, there's that rain. A risk of thunderstorms, swift current 21. 22 in Yorkton, Regina, Moose Jaw, and Estevan. 23 in Melfort. Watrous 22, Humboldt expecting a bit of rain there, a risk of thunderstorm, and a high of 21 tomorrow. Partly cloudy in the Battlefords tonight, some smoke, winds coming from the southeast at 15, mainly cloudy tomorrow and a high of 23. Friday, it's going to warm up slightly, 26, mix of sun and cloud, and then some rain starting Saturday, and it's going to persist with rain for the next following days, a risk of thunderstorm on Sunday, and some rain on Monday and Tuesday. Now, a few clouds in Prince Albert tonight. They had a very high air quality risk today. That's going to be downgraded to moderate risk overnight. And tomorrow, mainly cloudy and a high of 24 tomorrow for Prince Albert, 26, a high of Friday. Saturday, a high of 25. Sunday, a high of 21. Risk of thunderstorm and then some rain for the days following. Saskatoon, a low of 10 tonight. Partly cloudy. Again, that air quality is going to get a little bit better tomorrow. It's going to be considered a low risk air quality of 2. Tomorrow's high, 22. Now, Friday, mainly sunny, a high of 25. Saturday, 23. And then we're going to start to see some rainfall there, a high of 21 on Sunday. Monday and Tuesday, all expecting rain there. A music supervisor on American Idol and her husband have been found shot dead in their LA home. The bodies of Robin Kay and her husband, Thomas DeLuca, were found in their home after a welfare check. A 22-year-old man has been arrested. Police allege he was robbing the residence when the couple returned and were shot. Kay is described as being the cornerstone of the American Idol team since 2009, according to a spokesperson for the show.
You are unwise to lower your defenses.
One of the most iconic pieces of cinematic weaponry is going under the hammer. Darth Vader's lightsaber, or at least the prop, is part of the prop store's next memorabilia auction. The pre-sale estimate is $1 to $3 million. Other hot items up for bid include Harrison Ford's bullwhip from Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade and Sauron's helmet from The Lord of the Rings. The auction is in September. The latest Knives Out mystery will be among the world's premiere, lighting up the 50th edition of TIFF. Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery, sees Daniel Craig reprise his role as Detective Benoit Blanc alongside a cast that includes Josh O'Connor, Josh Brolin, and Mila Kunis. Clement Virgo's new psychological thriller is also among 11 official selections announced by TIFF today. The Toronto International Film Festival runs from September 4th to the 14th, and it will open with John Candy, I Like Me, a documentary on the late Canadian comic.
All right, Stacey, time for Pick of the Day. What do you have for us?
We got some exciting themes. Let me know. I'll get you to guess them at the end. First, starting off with Carol. She sent this one in. She took it Monday evening around 7 p.m. in Redberry Lake. That's about 25 minutes from Blaine Lake. Now, Carol says, crops and wildlife doing well. And you can see in our next picture as well, a beautiful mother-daughter duel in the field of canola. This was sent in by Cynthia, who says, our daughter and granddaughter from Ontario are enjoying the canola field near Waka. The perfect time of year to come visit the prairies, as you can see those beautiful canola fields. Now, Chantel, the theme was canola fields. This next one's going to kind of throw off the theme. It's a birthday shout out to Haley. A special happy birthday to you, Haley. This was sent in by your friend Samantha. Now, Haley, it looks like you're a proud Canadian, and I just want to say, if you have a little bit of extra birthday cake, you know, Chantel and I might get a little bit of hungry after the show. So, you know, Chantel, are you up for some birthday cake? I'm
always up for birthday cake. Yeah, absolutely.
Anyways, if you want to send us your photos, you can do so at cfqcnews@ctv.ca.
All right, thanks, Stacey. Still to come on CTV News, the Riders look to bounce back this weekend without one of their top players. But up next, a Canadian roller coaster that's not for the faint of heart. Canada's Wonderland north of Toronto has unleashed what it says is the most extreme ride yet. It's called Alpine Fury, and with 9 wild inversions and a blazing launch, it's not for the faint of heart. CP24's Bill Coulter got a chance to take it for a ride today.
Have been waiting for a very long time for Alpine Fury open to the public, and it is an impressive roller coaster. Longest, tallest, fastest launch coasters in Canada, and most inversions, 9 of them across the world of a launch coaster. I got a chance to ride it, and it was unbelievable. 1 minute and 20 of pure sheer exhilaration. You start off coming slowly around the first turn, and then it just launches you at incredible speed. In fact, it gets up to 115 kilometers per hour, and then this is where you start losing grasp of time and where you are as you spin around the inversions and the loops. And I think the play with time is it at times kind of slows you down and then fires you up again. It is 1,000 meters long, a full kilometer, and it goes from where you begin all the way to the front gate, and it has a drop of 154 feet or 47 meters. There are so many impressive parts to this. The buzz, definitely worthwhile. I mean, people waiting, worthwhile. The buzz, it has been about this roller coaster, and this roller coaster has delivered. I think we're going to be talking about this one for quite a while. Alpine Fury, open to the public at Canada's Wonderland.
When we come back, the Riders prepare for life without one of their top offensive weapons and cooking up the next fashion trend.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at our roll forecast. Temperatures in the low to mid 20s across the board. Mainly sunny, mix of sun and cloud conditions, pretty dominant also across the board. Mainly sunny in Meadow Lake, 25. Lloydminster, 23. Spiritwood, Melfort, also 23, 24 in Hudson Bay, 22 in Watrous. Wynyard, our outlier with some rain, a risk of thunderstorm, a high of 21 tomorrow. A bit more of a range of temperatures here. Some rain and risk of thunderclouds or thunder showers thunderstorms, there we go, in eastern Cypress and Maple Creek. Again, that's because of that weather system we saw in BC making its way to the southwest corner of Saskatchewan. Some much needed rain in that area. 22 in Leader and Rosetown, 20 in Rockland, 21 in Assiniboia, and then again, mix of sun and cloud pretty much across the board. Taking a look at Grenfell now, it's going to be 22, pretty moderate winds there, mix of sun and cloud. It's also where you can get internet plans from SaskTel up to 1 gig.
And welcome to another edition of X's and O's with Wes Cates. We're trying something different this week. Hopefully the Riders will try something different this week. What happened with the Calgary Stampeders? Wes, let's talk a little bit about the rush defense. The Riders had the best rush defense in the first 3 games, but lately it seems they haven't been able to stop the run. Gave up 134 yards against Calgary, 130 versus BC, who they face again this week. Do you have any concerns from what you're seeing on that front?
I'm not really too concerned. I just think that these teams understand that with the Riders playing off coverage and kind of playing a more of a read and react defense, that they can probably get some push if they bring in enough bodies. I did notice that Calgary did come out in some heavy sets. They actually started the game in a heavy set when Vernon Adams threw that pick, but they went back to it. And I think BC, understanding that maybe their passing game isn't as efficient as they would like it to be, will probably try to stick to the run as well a little bit. So I think that the Riders are going to understand, or going to have to understand, that teams aren't necessarily fearing their run defense as much as they have in the past, so they're going to have to prove that they can stop the run and then take it from there.
Now, breakdowns have really hurt the Riders in the secondary. We saw the catch by Alford where he was wide open behind Brooks against in that Calgary Stampeder game. BC, they're starting to pick it up passing, though, with Nathan Rourke, who will be at quarterback. He didn't play quarterback against the Riders in their first game against each other. So what is your concern, or do you feel okay with the secondary? Because it seems to be they're giving a lot of big plays up.
Well, yeah, I am a little concerned because Nathan Rourke, as you mentioned, was having some troubles. He missed a couple games due to injury, but he's looking pretty good physically, and he's a run threat. Both of the Canadian quarterbacks that are starting, much like Trey Ford, they're definite run threats. I think Rourke, I saw a couple of good throws on the run out of him last week, so I think that just based on the way he's progressing and playing, that the Riders do need to worry about that. I think that the Riders will definitely make some adjustments. Obviously, the Riders have plenty of great athletes, so I don't think it's a question of can they compete or are they matched up well. I think it's just more about throwing a few more wrinkles in there on defense and offense. So we'll have to see how these Rider coaches really adjust, because the league is kind of condensing and teams are getting more competitive. Obviously, there's a couple towards the bottom, but it seems like a wide open race right now.
Offensively, they couldn't get the run game going either, the Riders. But let's at least finish X's and O's with some positive news. Joe Robustelli, fantastic performance, gets his first touchdown, pretty close to 190 yards receiving. He had a big game. It seems like the Riders receiving court's somebody different every game. Emilus in the first game. You saw Keyshawn Johnson against Hamilton. In Toronto was Dante Myers. How do you keep these guys in the lineup? Because eventually we're going to start seeing guys getting healthy with Emilus and eventually Sean Bain Jr., because you got to find a way to keep this guy in the lineup, right? Considering, Trevor Harris has compared Robustelli to a guy like Greg Ellingson.
Yeah, I think Robustelli showed that he can play in this league, and he's a threat. He caught the ball pretty much on just about every type of route, right? He caught some short ones, some deep ones, and then he made plays with the ball after he caught it. He's a big, athletic guy, and he went out there and proved that he needs to get the ball whenever the opportunity presents itself. I think that definitely a lot of that was Trevor Harris just adjusting on the fly and realizing that Robustelli was maybe the receiver that team that was getting dropped in coverage against Calgary. But at the end of the day, I think that Trevor Harris and the Rider offense is going to have to shake things up, going to have to get creative.
All right, we'll see if the Riders can avoid back-to-back losses. We'll review that game. Plus, we'll look forward to the Edmonton Elks game at home on another edition of X's and O's next week.
Donovan Mace caught up with the Riders earlier today and has more on how they're preparing given their injury status.
For a second straight day, the Riders without return specialist Mario Alford at practice as he deals with a hip injury. And while not ruled out yet, head coach Corey Mace says it is unlikely he'll be ready to go in time for game day on Saturday against the Lions.
He went and got some final imaging yesterday, so we're just waiting on the results. It's probably going to be tough for him to go this week.
Alford takes this just inside the 40. And a good burst up to midfield.
The 2022 Special Teams Player of the Year going down on this play in the first quarter against the Stamps.
Ultimately, it sucks for him. But in saying the same thing, you know, we all have confidence in Dre to be able to go out there and execute and make plays, and he showed to be really dangerous in the preseason.
In Alford's place, Dre McCray expected to get the nod for his first regular season game in the CFL.
I'm excited. I'm thankful. People have been helping me, bring me along, so I'm excited for the opportunity if it comes.
In 2 preseason games, the Texas Tech product had 240 return yards, including a big 51-yard return against Winnipeg. The rookie says his most vital asset has been Alford.
He just helps me wherever I need, if he has a tip or something, or if I have a question. Sometimes we bounce ideas off each other just to help each other get better, and he's been a really big help and a really good mentor for me.
And despite the confidence in McCray, losing Alford still a big hit to the return game.
That's Super Mario, man. That's a tough one to lose. Certainly, he's been playing out of his mind, I thought, to this point in the season.
Now, staying on the injury front, Sean Bain Jr., a limited participant again Wednesday, while Samuel Emelis was a full participant but only getting limited reps with the first-team offense. The receiver says he took an extra day to deal with a foot injury but hopes to be in the lineup on Saturday. Donovan May, CTV News, Regina.
Canada Post workers will get a chance to vote directly on the employer's offer for a new collective agreement starting on Monday. The Canadian Industrial Relations Board will run the vote for unionized workers between July 21st and August 1st. The federal government stepped in last month with the Crown Corporation having been at an impasse with the union for months. The union has urged its members to vote no on the proposal and has instituted a national ban on overtime. Turning to local gas prices now, the average price in Saskatoon just over $1.34 a litre. That is up. The lowest price in town, $1.23.9. On Saskatchewan markets, Cameco finished the day at $104.25 and Nutrien was down. Coming up, a fashion statement built on sustainability. Then an unexpected beachgoer makes quite the splash.
Select Hair Service is brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
Get comfortable and settle in with these top shows all right here tonight on CTV. Well, this designer is cooking up the next fashion trend. Carolyn is a designer who creates clothing using bioplastics. Ingredients used for this material include common kitchen items like cornstarch, seaweed, and peppermint. Carolyn calls her work a fashion statement on sustainability, and she has some high-profile fans. Chapel Rowan and Anna Lohr are just some of the stars who have worn her pieces. So that is quite creative.
You know, I like the idea, but seafood in clothes? I don't know. You think that's going to have like a weird smell?
I would hope not, but we'll have to check into that.
You know, it's the thought behind it, I guess.
Absolutely. Well, an unlikely surfer was spotted catching some waves in New England.
Yeah, boy. Only one out.
The unexpected beachgoer made quite the splash, making the most of a swell at the beach on the North Island. The videographer says he thought it was a person at first bobbing in and out of the waves on the shoreline, which you can see, but then he realized it's actually a seal who is seemingly very skilled. So, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
Very cute.
Something you don't see every day.
No, for sure.
Yeah. All right, forecast-wise, we're looking at kind of a mixed bag, but decent over the next few days.
Yeah, you know, like I said earlier, couple days ago, we had some pretty intense smoke in the air. Still not quite ideal right now. That is going to downgrade to a low-risk air quality tomorrow. Again, temperatures around the low 20-degree mark and a bit of rain in the evening.
All right, thanks for watching. Have a great night.